very much, Mr. Moderator, Mr. Fadi Kumair, Excellencies, and ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. First, I would like to thank you for inviting me to participate in this high-level symposium, and I do commend the initiators of the concept of hydrodiplomacy for choosing the case of the Nile Basin to be this year's episode in the chain of events on hydrodiplomacy and climate change for peace in the Middle East. As you know, a significant feature of the Nile River is its transboundary nature. The basin is presently shared among 11 riparian states, 2 of which are from the Arab countries. This transboundary nature of the Nile presents both a challenge and an opportunity. In this concern, allow me first to list some of the challenges related to the Nile Basin. It is characterized by extreme poverty, instability, rapid population growth, environmental degradation, natural disasters, floods and droughts, and etc., complicated hydrology, low specific yield, lack of accessibility, fragmentation of water management, and decline of financial resources. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa suffers a great deal from water-related disasters aggravated by climate change caused by activities outside of Africa. The agriculture sector is particularly sensitive to climate variability. In many parts of Africa, farmers have to accommodate to other extreme natural resources challenges and constraints. And these challenges are usually aggravated by periods of prolonged droughts and floods. Africa's social and economic development is constrained by climate change, habitat loss, overharvesting of selected species, and activities such as hunting and deforestation. You may agree with me that any challenge can also become an opportunity to promote regional economic development in one of the poorest regions of the world. The Nile Basin opportunities lie in that the river is least developed in the upper reaches. Potential is great: water saving, agriculture, power generation, etc. Great chance for win-win solutions. Serious steps takes for cooperation is an incentive for donors. Obviously, in the Nile Basin, there are strong indications that substantial win-win solutions exist across the basin, and that the only way to develop an international river is by cooperation among the riparian countries. In fact, cooperation in the Nile Basin has actually started in the form of bilateral agreements since the beginning of this century. Moreover, countries of the Nile Basin have been engaged in regional cooperative activities over the past 30 years. I will concentrate on some of the important regional activities. First, the hydrometeorological survey of equatorial lakes, which is known as the Hydromet, started in 1967 to 1992, followed by a Technical Cooperation Committee for Promotion of Development and Environmental Promotion of the Nile Basin Project, and this is called the Teco Nile, 1992-1998, followed by a transition period where a project called D3 to develop an agreement among the Nile Basin countries, during which a series of conferences known as the Nile 2002 took place. Then the Nile Basin Initiative, known as the NBI, in 1999. What is the Nile Basin Initiative? It is putting the shared vision into action. The Nile Basin Initiative brings all Nile Basin countries to work together to develop the resources of the Nile Basin for the benefit of all. It is a mechanism to begin implementation of the vision which we have for the future. This is the structure of the Nile Basin Initiative, where we have a Council of Ministers and a technical advisory committee with the Nile Secretariat in Tebi, and projects. Two types of projects are there. These shared vision projects, SVP, and subsidiary action projects, SAP. And SAP takes place in the Eastern Nile, where Egypt, Ethiopia, Sudan, and the Southern Nile, the Nile SAP, during which in parallel goes the cooperative framework, the DC project, which I mentioned before. An international consortium for cooperation on the Nile was formed, headed by the World Bank and responsible for the project execution. The strategic action program, known as the hydro diplomacy of the river Nile Basin, and I mentioned two primary areas: the basin-wide projects, shared vision project, which concern projects on the basin, and sub-basin projects, subsidiary action programs. SAP aims at the delivery of actual development projects involving two or more countries. The concept of benefit sharing may be accepted as politically feasible than the actual sharing of the transboundary resource itself. And these benefit sharing include improved water quality and enhanced biodiversity. Second, improved management for hydropower or agriculture use. Third, flood and drought management, as well as reduced international tensions. And four, benefits deriving from integrated regional markets. Cooperation towards benefit sharing may range from coordination, such as sharing information, collaboration, including developing adequate national plans, and joint actions, which include joint ownership of infrastructure assets. The concept of hydro diplomacy can truly be considered a cooperation tool between nations, aiming at the prevention and resolution of conflicts between competing parties, and hence should be promoted under a water for peace approach. Moreover, adopting the nexus approach, water, energy, food, in the international agenda helps to widen the scope and potential of hydro diplomacy, since it encompasses the interdependence between many important aspects of life and the economics of societies and countries. The hydrodiplomacy in the Nile Basin aims at benefits for all, win-win strategy, share in the benefits rather than share in resources, enlarging the pie, reaching consensus on agreed legal and institutional framework, forming the Nile Basin Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, the following actions can be concluded. First, regional cooperation is a must to confront serious challenges to development in the region. Second, policies, strategies, institutional and legal frameworks are to be developed, coordinated and harmonized at regional levels to deal with the promotion of peace and security of transboundary water and water sharing between regions and countries. Third, technical innovations, including the desalination of the salt water, biosaline agriculture, and groundwater development by periodically recharging the shallow aquifers during flash flood events. This may, however, alleviate some of these risks. Fourth, not to be ignored is the treatment of wastewater. This can be a low-cost source of water resources, an attractive tool to relieve water stress. And fifth, emphasis is laid on the importance of cooperation between decision makers, experts, and politicians in order to launch a constructive dialogue for the peaceful resolution of tensions in the Nile Basin. In conclusion, though some analysts have predicted future conflicts over water, many countries are successfully sharing river basins, inland seas, and other water resources, showing that this challenge can also be a powerful catalyst for international cooperation. It is well hoped that the joint worldwide initiatives will facilitate, guide, and inspire greater cooperation in the sharing of water resources around the world, with the aim of achieving peace, welfare, and prosperity for mankind. Truly, water has the power to move millions of people. Let it move us in the direction of peace. There is every reason to hope that the next generation will live in a world with water peace, on condition that concerted efforts by all nations are heading towards this great goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you.